for everyone who missed me, I'm back, and I've actually brought two authors here to kind of help us with today. So I brought in Rachel and Eva, who are authors for the Wolf and Flame series, guys. So, ladies, Rachel, actually, we'll start with Eva. Eva, go ahead and introduce yourself to the chat, and then we'll do Rachel.
Yep. Hi, I'm Aoife. I write under the pen name LM Hughes, and I co-author with Rachel, as mentioned, on Wolf and Flame series. And we also have a companion piece out as well now on Royal Road called Hunter Origins. I live in Ireland. I'm married with 3 kids. And yeah, that's a little bit about me.
And then I'm Rachel, a pen name underneath R.A. Cooper, and also co-author with Aoife. I think you covered the 2 series that we have out right now. I'm from Texas and also have a family with 3 kids.
So again, welcome guys, and thank you for letting me have you guys on the channel. But so when we're gonna do a little bit things a little bit different, just because my narrative style is omniscient narrator, third person omniscient narrator. But you guys do a different genre altogether through lit RPG. So can you explain to chat what the lit RPG genre is?
Rachel, do you want to go ahead?
You had a good answer, I think, the other day when we were talking about it. If you want to go with that.
Oh, well, yeah, I suppose in our context, we're writing kind of lit RPG elements. So we have really our story is based in a kind of urban fantasy setting, like it's contemporary, but so the system that we bring in is basically designed by the gods. And it's all based around a cultivation system. So they basically level up, grow stronger through this system. And I suppose the system kind of accounts for, and you can see this, like they call up their stats, like you might see in a game setting. And then they basically interact with that through a kind of like a heads up display, like you might see in a game system. That would be basically just the quick version of the lit RPG elements in our story. Excuse me.
No, you're fine.
Yeah.
I just so you guys know, so like I said, for some reason the stuff from chat isn't coming through. I have it open on my second screen.
Yeah.
But just so you guys know, TJ says hi.
Oh, hey TJ.
Yeah. So
yeah.
So with your book, with Wolf and Flames, kind of tell us a little bit about that. What's it about?
So I'll take it. Yeah.
Okay.
So Wolf and Flame, it starts out with an untrained mage who starts coming into his powers, and he ends up meeting a wolf shifter druid who also has powers. The first pilot takes place in Ireland, and they don't know about how the gods and demons are kind of overarching control, like meddling in their lives. But they end up fighting demons along the way. There's some kind of family faction wars based between the clans, between druids and some the shifters, the wolf shifters. So that's really kind of what takes place in the first book. Trying to think what else. Yeah, I think that's kind of the first part of the book. Aoife, you want to add something? Sorry.
Yeah, no, I know it's I think the connection there. So as I say, they're coming from different backgrounds, but they come together under this cultivation system. And the first book is pretty light. It delves deeper as we get kind of into the second book. We get more into what the cultivation system is about as their awareness of it grows, and as the gods and demons and immortal cultivators and that kind of make their presence kind of better known in between the second, third, and then the fourth book is the kind of wrap up of the story between the two. So I think that's the cultivation system itself is kind of based on Irish kind of Celtic zodiac system. So it involves like trees and trees and animal totems. So to basically better help them, I suppose, access the system in a way that suits them best. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. So like just so because I've been able to read the book yet, but is it like so when I think a lit RPG, you know, in my head, what I think is like my only reference is through anime, because I'm not really too experienced with it. But essentially, is it like leveling up for people who don't know much about it? Essentially, leveling up with experience points would be the easiest way for the general public to kind of understand that. Now, is it like, will they have like a screen pop up in front of them say, "Hey, you've leveled up," or how do they know where their stats are in the whole while leveling up?
So initially, they have these AI guides that basically teach them how to access the system. Because for say the female character, it's completely suppressed, so she has no access until it's unlocked, and the AI system kind of shows her, you call up status, your character details to come up. So it's a very, like, we keep it quite simple, as in it's just like her name, her clan name, her chi rank, so basically where she is, like so we've 7 stages, so she's in the first stage, and what level that will come up, what her affinity type is. So say she's earth, and she's got to say an earth affinity, that will show up, and then as they learn skills, they come up. For the immortal cultivators, we have them access quests, so they will get prompts for that, and it'll be asked, will you accept a quest? Yes, no. And so the way we do it in our story is it's just basically like a bold font for any of the system elements come up like that. And then the AIs that kind of manage the system or interact with either the immortal cultivators or the main characters. I think so basically we've got like a divine AI and an underworld AI. And I think we use different, Rachel probably remind me, we've either got, is it backslashes or something for...
Yeah, two backslashes for the underworld one AI, and then just some brackets for the divine realm, that AI, just so you can tell the variation of who's speaking.
And then I think like in the third book, where one of the characters is exiled to another kind of almost like a different dimension, has some inspiration from like Aliens, but the system, that there's a variant of the system that also AI system that exists in that realm, and then we've another, I think either asterisk or something to denote that as a variant of the system when it speaks. So I think that's what we did for that one as well. That was fun.
Okay. Now I heard that you guys say something about stages. So is this is the series more dungeon like, or is it just more like world to world based?
Yeah. So the 4 books are, in real world terms, are set in 4 different locations. So book 1 is Ireland, book 2 is Hong Kong, book 3 is Bruges, Book 4 is kind of around New Orleans. But we do have in the third book, we have a kind of basically where it's kind of playing on the whole, tower kind of prison tropes in that story. So they do very much have to, they're forced to grow stronger for the powers that be, and they're put through kind of like basically like dungeon trials in that book. So that kind of they're kind of removed from the everyday world in books.
Okay.
And have to kind of get back to the real world.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
So we have our first, at least through the Steam Yard, we have
Yes.
someone that said hi. So hi, Nee.
Hello.
Welcome,
Hi,
welcome.
Nee. Hi. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah. So you guys being so is this the only you mentioned this one and the one on the Royal Road, but have you guys have any other books that you've co-authored, and how did you guys meet to start co-authoring the Wolf and Flame series?
So I'd say we started off in a writing group, and then I threw out, this was right around whenever Kindle Vella was coming around, like starting up. And so I figured, why not try it? I hadn't heard of Royal Road at the time yet, or any of the other web serials. So I asked if anybody would be interested in writing a story together. And Aoife said yes, in particular because she's based in Ireland. Was looking for somebody that wanted to join, since Vella was at the time only, I think, still in the US only. And then we figured out that we both really love legends and mythology. And so that's where we started generating our story. Off of that, we both brought in a couple of characters and just plotted it out from there. And I forgot the rest of the question, but that's kind of how we met.
No, you're doing fine. That was essentially the answer that to the question. Now, did you guys say, hey, like, did you guys essentially meeting up? Was that the way you guys got into Wolf and Flame, or was there like other stories that you developed to kind of learn each other's writing styles, and then you hopped into Wolf and Flames?
I mean, with that, just we weren't losing anything by posting on Vella, since it was a trial period anyway. So we really did just jump right in, and we kind of did trial and error and learned as we went. I think first starting off, we just wrote like from our characters' perspectives at the beginning, but within a few chapters of doing that, we quickly learned each other's voice and how that character, the dialogue and thing might interact. And so we really played off that, and it kind of melded naturally.
Yeah.
So you said you guys love mythology, and we were talking before we kind of started the stream a little bit, but where exactly does that mythology come from? Is it just from Ireland, or you're pulling up from Greek, Roman, Native American? Where exactly is the main inspiration that you pull from?
Yeah. Well, for me, it started. I suppose I was immersed in Irish mythology, but in general, I would have a love for, from studying history and over the years, and from my dad and that, like I would have a love of all mythology. But predominantly when I met with Rachel, we dove into the Irish mythology because of where the characters were going to be based. But for Rachel, it was kind of like we were talking about urban legends as well. So we said, how can we bring those elements, the two of them, into a story? But like even since then, we did do another piece where we kind of looked at like Norwegian kind of mythical creatures, like Skull Cat. We used as a kind of a godlike creature in our story. That was, as I say, kind of like a short that was just in an anthology series. But yeah, I mean, I don't know, Rachel, is there anything else I'm missing that you want to add? Or
Yeah, no, I think like you hit it pretty well. Like I grew up with like the urban legends, learned like different paranormal type stuff and stories, and then with all the Marvel and DC universe, I'm a big fan of like watching those different movies, Norse mythology and Ireland, kind of any legends and mythologies I've enjoyed. So.
Okay. We actually have a question here
Yeah.
from Nee. Let's see what we got here.
yeah,
Do you develop individual characters to write or combined? Rachel, do you mind answering that question?
Yeah. So when we start out with Wolf and Flame, like I said, we both kind of created one main character and brought in their own backstory, and then we pulled them together. But I think those were the only individual characters that we created. Other than that, like we've just kind of combined and brainstormed. Oh, we should have a character that does this and another
yeah,
character to kind of fulfill this role and how that might interact with the different dynamics.
yeah. Yeah, because like, so Cara would have been, so the female character that was, say, I started off developing her, and Rachel had the male character, Raph. But like, you know, as Rachel was saying, over time, we just, when we got comfortable, we could just write either of them. And then, like, I think probably, like, say during the prison scenes, like, we're like, we need a character to help her get through this. And that was how Maze came up, and Rachel, we brainstormed it together, and then Rachel was writing that part of the chapter, and then I can remember reading over it afterwards and just going, oh, that's brilliant, like, you know. So it's sometimes it would depend on who was actually then writing the first part of the scene where that character comes into play. They tend to give the character their voice as well, so I always think that that's great. And then, but we both end up writing the character afterwards and see the character evolve, and I love that. I think that's great.
Okay. TJ says that your kids are awake, Rachel.
Yes. I was wondering if you could hear them.
Yeah, no, but you're fine. I mean, hey, it is what it is. Kids are great anyways. And he's asking another question here. Let's see what we had. Has it ever caused conflict, though? Has that ever caused conflict between you two on how to, I guess, develop a character? That's what the question's asking.
Yeah. I mean, we find it out.
Physical, yes. Mortal Kombat.
Who wins?
Depends who's had their ready break.
Right.
Okay.
No, to be honest with you, I don't know if it's just that we're both really like kind of easygoing on things like this, but we just tend to kind of like be like, oh, this is so awesome, or you know, oh, what did you think of this or that? Like sometimes what will happen is when we go back in through edits or something like that, you might find it's more a case where we'll either go to each other, just kind of sound things off and say, like, for example, when I was writing the first round, when we wrote we had like this zombie donkey scene, reanimation scene, and I wrote it very viscerally the very first time round. And I remember, I just remember that I couldn't stop laughing and crying with tears of laughter because it just was so bizarre when I read it back over. And I was just saying to Rachel, I really don't think this has to be rewritten. And that's one, but it was basically myself. I just was kind of sounding it off Rachel, but I was like, no, that has to change. But no, in general, there's never really anything major, I don't think. But yeah.
Yeah, we're pretty go with the flow. We're very open-minded and kind of go with each other's ideas. And then, like we said, like going back through edits, if something does sound a little off, then we'll kind of tweak it there at that point.
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha. Oh, we got the comments coming in now, huh? So we got TJ's finally, I guess he found his way through. We fully support kids on stream.
Yes.
Yeah, we do.
Thanks, TJ.
Yeah.
Nee's just
Yeah.
laughing here. Oh, and TJ then comes back with a question. Do you ever create stories for your kiddos that inspire you to add it to the books? We'll start with Rachel.
Yeah. So, yeah, I would say just like the kids are a really big inspiration into kind of because their imaginations are so fresh. Like it's always surprising what little things they'll say. Like for example, so one of the things that my daughter had said before is like she said, "Well, if you, so like she fell down and got hurt." She said, "Well, if you're gonna be dumb, you got to be tough." And so I feel like that's a very smart thing for a 5-year-old to say. Of course, she was probably watching Jackass or something, but those movies. But
As one does.
yes. But even then, like nighttime stories, bedtime, we let them kind of tell their stories, and then like if that prompts something that we could use, and I kind of develop that more and go off of that. So yeah, I think so.
Yeah, well, that's lovely, and that it reminds me. That's like I mean, for me, my youngest now he's 11, and he had a long time to try and communicate and kind of get his thoughts out and learn to speak. And so every time we're out and about, or we're, I'm collecting him or that, just love having the chats with him. But there was one day that really kind of it just I'll never forget it. But it was like a windy day, and there was trees, the leaves were coming off the trees, and everybody who knows me, I'm a very jumpy type person. And whatever way the leaves came down, one swooped down nearly and came at me, and Nathan was like, "Oh, it's like a, it's like an arrow or something, leaf or something." I said, "Do you know what, Nathan? That's a brilliant idea." I said, "I could use something like that in my story." And his face, I just remember, like, he's like, "You'd use one of my ideas in your story?" And I was like, "Yes, I would." And he just beamed, and I was like, I just think that was, it just was so lovely. So I think that's a great question, and it just reminded me of that moment. So it's cool. Yeah.
Okay. And then we got a last comment from TJ. That's awesome. Love it. So with lost my train of thought. But let's ask this. I got another question for you guys. So when coming up with this book, what is that, or coming up with a book? What's the process like? Essentially, being co-authors. You kind of mentioned, you guys kind of go with the flow, but like, do you guys like have a storyboard process, or do you guys just like, hey, let's just see where this road takes us?
We have spreadsheets. We have ClickUp.
Okay.
And we have Google Docs. So again, it's something that's kind of evolved over time. So what we start out with is like literally in the spreadsheet, we'll have sentence, for each chapter, and our milestones, like the major milestones of say book one. We'll have them all set out. We'll have where the characters are leveling up as well down in one column. So we know which chapter that needs to happen. We have, as I say, it's all just sentences to start with. Like say if it's 40 chapters, there'll be sentences just to kind of give us an idea, like signposting where the story is going and making sure that we're hitting the beats or what have you, the main story beats. And then we take that into draft documents. So each chapter will have its own draft, and we plot together, usually in my afternoon, Rachel's morning, and we'll plot that out kind of bullet points. It's almost like a zero draft, if you want to say. And then we go to dictation, and whatever part of the chapter I'm taking, I'll highlight that, I'll dictate that. And then we have a master document, and when the draft is done of each chapter, they go in there and we clean it up in that master draft then, that with suggested changes on or what have you. So it is pretty
quite the process.
well planned.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
but it works. Yeah.
Like we get a
Yeah,
good
no.
overview in the beginning.
Yeah.
And then I think really the magic kind of happens whenever we're doing our plotting calls, because that's whenever like we're just kind of talking back and forth, brainstorming different ideas, and some of the dialogue comes out as we're talking about what the outline's going to include, and so that's really a big fun part of it. So
Yeah.
I got a friend here on the side saying, hi, Rodriguez.
hello.
But so, and this is just to show, because a lot of people think that writing books is easy, which it can be, but you have to put a lot of effort, a lot of thought to it. But at least for me, so I'm starting to write. I just I'm around 12,000 words right now, but it's quite the process to just think and like finding the time. I mean, you guys I don't know how you guys do it, because one, being a parent it's a job. I don't care what anyone says. So and then having multiple kids, just to deal around their schedules, and my hat's off to you. I could barely I come home and I'm tired. So just finding that, I guess the discipline to go through that. It's really really impressive. And then people don't realize what else comes with books. Marketing. I I had these are all classes and stuff that people don't realize. Like, hey, marketing, your artist, your editor. So it just little things become big things, and they just don't realize how big essentially a book could be. So I tip my hat to both of you for doing that.
Thank you.
So
Thanks.
Thanks.
yeah, definitely not easy. But yeah, and then with that, what are some tips that you would give like people like myself, aspiring authors? What are some tips that you kind of learned throughout this process?
I can
Rachel,
go.
so Rachel.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I think one of the major things, and you hear a lot of people say it, is that just get the first draft down and get it out, because it could be really messy. It can have all the typos and grammar errors. Once you get it down, then you can always go back and edit something. You can't edit the blank page. It's a very popular saying, but it's very true. Like so, as we mentioned, we kind of dictate our drafts, and that, of course, doesn't always come out like you would expect it. And so, going back in and cleaning it up is a lot easier than it is to just not. And I wanted to add too, if you ever are stuck with what to write for like a particular scene, if you maybe the night before you got done writing part of a scene, just start writing the first couple of sentences of where you're starting the next thing, so you don't start with that blank page the next morning. You can just kind of go on from that. That would be another thing I would mention.
Yeah, I'd agree there. And sometimes then again, just if you like are hitting a hurdle, square bracket description of whatever needs to be put here, close bracket, that you can come back to it, that you don't get stuck on the little details sometimes. That don't go into edit mode when you're doing your draft. The other thing is just having somebody, if you can find a fellow author, somebody's on a similar journey, to be an accountability partner. I think that's really great as well. Just somebody to kind of maybe touch base with, kind of mutually arranged times, or even if it's just a messenger. It can be lonely sometimes, you're writing on your own. So I think it's nice to have somebody that you can either chat through with whatever's going on, or even just chat in general. Is really important as well, to keep you on track. Mm-hmm.
Absolutely, absolutely. What would you say is your favorite process that you guys have developed, or what is something that like, oh, that when that happens, it's like your favorite thing during writing either a book or the process during the process?
Um, I, I think like what Rachel was saying earlier, I love during the brainstorming sessions like that,
Mhm.
where maybe something comes through in the dialogue, and we both get pretty excited about it. It might just be a funny joke or something, or like, oh, what if, the character says this, or that goes really well with what we did before, that links in. And you can see where like just a generation of like a new idea or a new character that you never knew was going to exist at the start of that book. So I mean, I think I definitely have pantser tendencies. Things do tend to pop into my head as I'm in the middle of my draft. I need to have the anchor of having the plot, because I will just go off into some unknown tangent and defy logic and everything else. So, but the way we have our process set, I think it kind of gives it that kind of happy medium that kind of I can be a bit of a plantser, so an in between the two. So I enjoy those sort of moments.
Yeah, I
Gotcha.
agree
What
with
about you,
Aoife.
Rachel?
I was gonna say I agree with Aoife. Like, really, it is that plotting, that interaction that we have with each other. I mean, we do meet pretty regularly throughout the week, and even if it's just a quick Facebook Messenger, just to kind of have a quick chat, touching base with each other, it really goes a long ways. Um, and then I say the other part would be whenever like everything starts connecting. Once you get so far along with the story, you start being able to say like closing different loops uh, that later on. So I'm saying like just the whole interconnection of roles uh, and all the characters.
Sorry, Rachel. It seemed like you
Did
we
it-
had a little bit of a connection issue right there for a second. Do you mind
Yeah,
repeating that?
yeah. I don't know what you missed, but I'll I'll say basically I agree with everything that Aoife had said about going the back and forth. Just like we meet pretty regularly, and then even just through messengers, having quick chats back and forth to kind of touch base is really useful. And then the other thing that I mentioned where it might have cut out was oh, being able to close any open loops that whenever we're writing as you get further along into the story, like all these little setups that you had sprinkled along the way, seeing all the connections kind of come together, the world building really fleshed out, and how dynamic the characters start to become.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, for sure. Oh, we have a question here on. So this is actually from my sister, Valeria. She asked, "What intrigues you more, writing dialogue or writing descriptions?"
What intrigues you more?
Yeah. We'll start off with Aoife.
Oh, I love dialogue.
Okay.
I get bogged down with descriptions, like, and I can see actually where my writing style. So, going back, like, years ago, I was very flowery with my descriptions, and I could write a half a page. I've learned since less is more sometimes, or leave some of the descriptions to the imagination and things like that. But yeah, I love. I think it also comes like when you're reading, you kind of are sometimes drawn to write what you also are drawn to when you're reading. And I love what's revealed and what isn't revealed in character dialogue. And like that, I find when I'm doing dictation, it kind of helps with that a bit, because I'm sometimes with certain characters, I'll actually even put on like an accent as I'm dictating it, just to kind of, does this sound like how it would come out? So yeah, I think dialogue for me.
Yeah.
Okay. What about you,
So yeah,
Rachel?
So dialogue is, I feel like it is definitely easier whenever dictating, just because then things start to come out more natural. Um, I I'm not as good. I would say it takes me more work to think of dialogue things, especially if it's more snarky. Then I have to like think longer on it. But if it's a description, I don't really put too much into the descriptions. The main thing that I would focus on would be the like if there's any kind of character traits or tags, kind of telltale symbols. I try to focus on those and really get something that might be descriptive, so people can see the difference between the characters. Um, yeah, I think so.
Okay. Valeria, if you're still there, hopefully that answers your question. Okay. Let's see. Do we have any other questions? Sorry, I'm like checking all my screens
Oh,
to make sure
do you see
all the questions for
Ryan?
everyone are
Ryan is
answered.
there. Hi, Ryan. I think
Hello.
I see a comment there from Ryan. Hi, Ryan.
Yes.
Yeah. Sorry, I don't know if I'm seeing all of the
Oh
comments.
yeah. So Ryan, hey, you're gonna be up next here, so be ready for your interview, sir. Uh, okay. I think we caught up to everyone. Okay, yeah, we did. Um, with the Wolf and Flame series, you said you guys got one more book. What could people expect throughout this series, or essentially what do you want people to? See if I can remember this question because I wrote it down and I don't have my notebook in front of me, and that's on me. But essentially, with the final book, what is it that you kind of want people to essentially get from it? Like, for example, Harry Potter, magic, the whole thing. That's the whole grab. For this one, it's what exactly is the grab for people, that pull that you want people to feel to be attached to the book.
I think, well, in my mind, it's kind of like I suppose, a triumph over adversity. There's just so much going against them, and there's a lot of loss that they have to deal with. Especially, it comes up kind of like in the third book, and then the kind of it's reinforced and brought about in another way in the fourth book.
Mm-hmm.
That's like they both have to deal, both characters, so that they have their love for one another, but there's like other stakes that come into play, as I say, in book 3 and 4, that really push them to the edge. And I think it's just seeing that come full circle, and I feel where we start in Kara's home place and we end in Raf's home place, like just even
Mm-hmm.
okay, it's geographically that's happening, but also there is a kind of a trying to just find their home. Where do they belong? Even though they're leveling up and there's all this power progression going on, that essentially to me is it's about family. So
Okay.
that's, yeah, at its core, if it was to say.
Yeah,
What
kind of
about
the
for you,
found
Rachel?
family. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, the kind of the found family,
Mm-hmm.
and finding each other. So, and really, I think since we have the two main characters, it's really nice to see them grow together in that way. And as Aoife was mentioning, that you kind of get hit, I feel like, as you enter like the books 3 and 4, it's more of that emotional satisfaction that kind of comes through of seeing like this this closure come together of um, how both have to deal with their own kind of emotions and things, their loss from their past, things that they've kind of let go, and then how they deal with it together.
Okay. So we have
Try not
some
to give,
comments. So we
so
too
try
much
not to
out.
give anything away. Yeah.
Gotcha. So we already got Ryan's response, and then from over here on this chat, or on this page, I'm looking at saying hi from my aunt. So hi Didi, and then my brother. April, no smart ass
Nice.
comments. Uh,
No.
so, uh, so yeah. You mentioned characters and cultivation and leveling up. So when it comes to lit RPG and cultivation, obviously through the leveling up, when do you consider a character has become too overpowered or just out of the league, and how would you come about to try to nerf that person as an
Uh,
author?
yeah. So in our system, well, sorry, in the story arc that we have, although there is, so you can basically go from being like a non-cultivator, which is known as, say, like a pre-refiner, all the way up to an immortal cultivator, and up to, obviously then there's the gods. So the way we have it set up in when you go into those higher levels, there's like the checks and balances that are in place are basically almost like a political system. There's an upper and lower house, and there's these divine bonds, so that everything's regulated. But coming back down to, say, maybe like the mortal plane, and we do have different realms of existence. Anybody, as I say, in our story arc, because it's over a short period of time, they never get overpowered. They never get to, without giving too much away, they stay very much kind of in a realm of power that's beyond mortal, but not to kind of god level. I suppose the way I've seen it done well, because I would be a fan of like overpowered, like especially like an Ishikai, is I love to see where the character is overpowered. They could maybe, smash a mountain, but they're put in a situation where they can't save everybody. And then you see that emotional fallout. And there's one series I'm not sure I probably should name because I don't want to give a spoiler on it, but it was done particularly well. I just thought the overpoweredness was done well because there was the emotional vulnerability was shown very viscerally, and really grounded you and made you, feel for the character. So that's one
Mhm.
way. And obviously there's, if you want to go system level, then you've obviously got limitations, cooldowns, what have you, to limit or the whatever skills or levels that they're gaining. But that would just be my take on one aspect of it anyway.
Yeah, and I'll just add to that. Oh, go ahead. That
Go
yeah,
ahead.
I think if you set up certain stakes, like if set up stakes to where the characters, if they use a certain skill too much, then it can cause like uh, a vast difference between in our system we have it to where it can affect the kind of the whole divine and underworld realms. And so that's kind of where our gods and demons are actually battling each other. One wants to kind of help keep the system level, whereas the other doesn't. And our characters are kind of just stuck in the middle of that. And they begin to realize that, especially in book 3, whenever how much effect that they have on this particular, if they use a certain energy type or a certain skill that can affect the change of the system.
Okay.
In a bad way. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Bring close. Yeah, yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. Let me see. So we have, my sister-in-law is actually saying hi. Hi, Ashley. And then let's see. Ryan's got a question here. Do you have any tips for someone wanting to get better at writing emotional scenes where the where the characters experience loss? Rachel, you can start.
Yeah, I mean that's a tough question. I think for me personally is what I think about. I kind of think about any of my own loss that I've experienced in life. Then I kind of go to that point of like, what was I feeling at the time, and start pulling those pieces apart and let it kind of see how the character would experience that. How might they express themselves with that grief or whatever type of loss it might be.
Yeah, I also find the same thing. I kind of dig deep into kind of my own experiences, but I also find music. I mean, I know there's certain songs that I can just go to that really help get me in that zone as well. There's um, I can certain songs like by Green Carnation. It's one in particular when I was writing one particular scene that I just knew this was a perfect song for. So I went and listened to that, and it really got me into the zone of that character and what they were going through, the sadness that they were feeling at that time. So just by listening to that song, that helped me connect as well. That would be something I would say can really help.
Okay. Actually, it looks like you guys have a fan here that just said they picked up the book.
Oh,
So
Thank
thank
you.
you so much. Oh.
yeah, there you go. So I think that's it. Let me make sure. Yep, caught up on all that. So what do you guys have for the future? Kind of tell the folks here what you guys are working, if you want to. What are you guys working on, and what awaits the next series that you guys are planning on?
Fine. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah,
So, so book launches in a couple of weeks, or maybe next week, and then book 4 we're gonna push that out hopefully by the end of the year. Move up the pre-order time. We just have to sew some final edits there. After that, like we have the Hunter Origins out on Royal Road, and that's really a companion piece to Wolf and Flame because it is one of the immortal gods from Wolf and Flame. Hunter, we pulled him aside and we go back to his origins, like how did he end up becoming an immortal god? So with that series, we get to learn a bigger kind of in-depth look at the 13 cultivation paths that we have, and we get to see his character grow. So he'll go from underdog to being a leader of a formidable faction. He has to ascend his own tower, but in this series we actually have it to where it's more complicated, where it's not just him that's ascending. He also has to get 12 other initiates that follow each of the 13 paths, and they all have to ascend together at the top of the tower. So it's a long series that we're planning for, but it's been a lot of fun so far.
yeah,
I mean, it sounds like it. So I'm actually pretty excited to start reading that. Then, so it's essentially expansion within the world that you guys already created.
yeah.
Mhm.
Okay, okay. S- Well, continuing from there, is there other books that you're planning to just expand on? I'm assuming that the Hunter origin, so it's a prequel, but going past what's currently going on, is there any plans on continuing past that?
Um, we've, we've talked, yeah, about we wanted to look at another series that we were thinking of doing something in, like something darker, like more in the kind of horror side of things, maybe with a character that has something to do with maybe like necromancy skills, but that's very kind of early stages. We're only just kind of we're kind of like we're thinking about that, but we want to wrap up. Excuse me. Wolf and Flame, which, as Richard was saying there, by the end of this year, book 4 is written. It just needs some edits. We've just got the cover back, literally, I think like yesterday. So we book 3 going up, book 4, and then we really, and we'll keep going with Hunter Origins, and then we're going to delve more into that. But yeah, that would be where we're at the moment.
Okay. Let me see. Ryan came out with a comment saying, "Oh, that's not the one from Ryan." Let's start with Ryan. That he loves side stories, and don't we all? It just gives. I think side stories are good because one, they provide more background to the universe you're writing. That's why I'm kind of doing a prequel slash like side story to The Dying Breed uh, in TJ's universe.
Fantastic.
Yeah, so like my character's based off of my D&D character. So I'm like, let me see if I can squeeze something here. I got TJ's blessing, and then I'm right now I'm just writing away. So that's where I'm doing my thing.
Oh, that's brilliant. Yeah.
And then the next comment here, I started Hunter Origins, but I've been tied up with the
Write-a-thon, yeah.
Write-a-thon challenge. I need to get back on and catch up. Okay, I mean, hey, take your time, but I mean, you finish the book and finish the story at least on Row Road.
Yeah,
yeah. Good
that's
luck
brilliant. Yeah,
good
yeah.
luck with the write-a-thon too. I know
Yeah,
that's
that's
a real
awesome.
grind. So
Yeah.
Let's see. And then my mom's saying hi, mom. And then I got another aunt saying hi.
Hello. Hi.
The whole family's here.
lots of support. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
No pressure.
No. God, I lost my train of thought. Thanks a lot, Mom. No, so with the whole writing books, what kind of got you into got you into writing books essentially? What triggered that? Like, oh, this is where I'm gonna start doing that. We'll start with Rachel.
Okay. So it's always been like one of those bucket list goals, I want to write a book, before I die, preferably by the time I'm 50. And then I think there was a children's book author that I was following on social media, and said she was doing a social experiment. And basically she said, oh, you should, I want everybody to write 3 paragraphs about something with animals in it or something. And so I started to do that. I wrote those 3 paragraphs, and then I just kind of kept going with it like every day. It is only like a paragraph or 100 words that I might get in, but eventually I had 4 chapters going, and I was like, well, I guess this is now time for Better Than Any to just start writing that book, get it out now and not wait until later on in life.
For me, I think I was writing stories when I was like basically a kid, and my dad like had his own business, so I used to sneak in on his computer and start like, I think my first story, I was inspired by Tom McCaughrean's, it was basically a story about foxes. I think it was like Run with the Wind or something like that. And so I wanted to write about animals, and I picked a frog that could dance. I wrote this epic, it went on an epic quest across the land of horses and all sorts to find some magic lily pad or something, I don't know. But so I always wanted to write, but I was so afraid to put my writing out there. And so it wasn't until I was teaching for a while there, and then when we were kind of all at home for a while, I thought, right, now is the time to do this. So I got into the writing group and met Rachel, started writing a story about, like, again with my children, we made up stories and all of this, and that's kind of led into a story about a misfit type of fairy in Ireland, and banshees and all sorts. And then when I got the opportunity to write with Rachel, my confidence kind of lifted a lot, because I shared some of my writing with Rachel, and I can still actually remember Rachel's response to it, because I was like so afraid to hear what anybody would say about it. But that was so wonderful and uplifting to me, Rachel's support at the time, that it just took off from there, and that's it. So it's been a long journey, but a great one.
Well, it's good to hear. So me, I hate the like just the whole school. I never really paid attention in class for the whole English class and like literature. I loved reading. I just like grammatically that was always been my issue. Like I didn't want to learn the language, which now writing a book would have helped. But I don't know. It always found at least the learning portion was always difficult for me. But when it came to reading a book, like I can picture it in my head, so like I just write it down. But then you notice like you have 6 run-on sentences here, or this whole paragraph is just one sentence. Extreme case, but it's just something that I've noticed. And I don't even think a lot of people. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. Do you guys even have an English major in this, or teaching back? Well, I see you said you had a teaching background, so
Yeah, no, but I probably, it was what I ended up studying in college seemed to surprise people, like say my teachers in school, because I had a big love for English and history, and I chose those subjects, and I would have only had kind of like a pass maths, and I did biology. So, but I went into college to study biotechnology, and that seemed to surprise people. I'd also put down an arts degree. I was going to go to do, because I was like this eternal student. I never knew what I was going to do. So it was like arts. I think I threw in medicine there, and I threw in I was biotechnology, and I got biotechnology, and I was like, oh, I'll do this, and then I'll know what I want to do in 4 years' time. And then I finished that, and I was like, I still don't know what I want to do, so I stayed on and did a PhD and finished that. And then it was like I worked in a lab in New Zealand then for a QC lab, and I realized that wasn't something I wanted to do. And then when I came back home, I did a postdoc for a year before I got married in microbiology. So no, I suppose I've written academic papers, which is completely different. I actually had to lose all the flowery language and learn how to write academically. And now I've gone back, some ways the other ways, but yeah.
So now you're a doctor, and I didn't know that. So for people, so just to help to put this in perspective. So I met Aoife. I don't think I get a chance to talk to Rachel through that, but I did see some of the panels through GuildifyCon, which I was a moderator for a couple weeks ago, and we just had a blast. And we just asked her, hey, you guys want to be on? They're like, yep, we'll do it. And so that's how you got to hear. But yeah, I didn't know you were a doctor, one, and that's very impressive. So I'm just,
Rachel is a doctor as well. I'm going to out her there now. So sorry, Rachel.
That's okay.
Yeah, no, I do joke with the kids, because I just say, trust me, I'm a doctor. And they're just like, huh? You're not a doctor. And I'm like, well, not a doctor, like a medical doctor, I said.
Right.
Different type. But yeah, and it's, to be honest with you, it's like, because it was, I haven't been in a research lab since before the children. So it feels like it feels surreal. It doesn't feel like, it's so long ago, but yeah. So.
Wow. I mean, I'm trying to finish my bachelor's here, and then you guys are just talking about doctorates. I'm like, that's, ugh. Yeah. But yeah, let me see what some of these comments are. So, hey, McNutt, it's been a while, man. How you doing? Let's see. Where's Adam? Is this Chris? I think, okay, so going back to him, when he says here, I just picked up the book, it might be The Dying Breed. Because now that he's talking about Adama, which is my dog, hey, he's somewhere on the house.
That's a pretty
good. Do you know where it's from?
Adama, like from Battlestar Galactica.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was.
And then, yep. Mm-hmm. Yep. Totally agree, Nee.
It's like
Oh no,
quite
I
the world.
seriously, I just stayed in academia because I didn't know where I didn't know where
But
I was.
you
So
could
I'm not
stop.
going out into yeah. No, like I'm basically known as the eternal student. I just collect qualifications. I don't actually work
Uh,
until I started writing. Now I feel yeah.
let's see. There's a lot of doctors, and yep, yeah, there is. Yeah. Uh, I'm not. I wouldn't say you're a quitter because I mean, you have a huge book right now in in Royal Road. So and good on you for getting picked up as well. Let me
Yeah, it
see.
takes it's
Yeah.
almost like the writing, like that's a whole another challenge putting in like a book. Like it's like it's probably one of the most challenging things I've done.
Yes. Yeah. Mhm.
Oh, so I guess this is Chris, but he says he got your guys' book. So yeah, he got your guys' books. There you go. Confirmation.
Thank you so much. You guys are awesome. Thank you.
Let's see. Lol, I'm at college. I never finished. Hey, I'm finishing now, 10 years later. So it's never too late. I don't care what anyone says.
Exactly. Yeah.
True.
Let's see here. My sister's asking, do you ever get sidetracked in and wait, what? Do you ever get sidetracked in research for writing?
Sometimes, yeah.
We'll start with Aoife because she seems like she definitely uh, does that.
Yes. Yeah. I like if I don't have. Rachel made a great point earlier. Like if I don't set up the night before, like have my dictation sheet open and the chapter plotted, ready to go, and say to myself, don't go on Facebook, don't do this. I've my attention span, I can be just drawn to something and I'll go down the rabbit hole very quickly. And in relation to researching something, I'm better at it now than I used to be. But yes, I could be in the middle of, like, say, if I was, when I was just writing on my own, if I was writing and then I'd go, oh, I wonder about this location or something, and I go off and research it, and then I'd find another page and another and another and another, and I'd keep going trying to find more and more information. Now I compartmentalize that. I'll only do that like I might say, right, well, if I need to find out information about something, I'll do it in the evening time when my brain is a little bit more tired and keep the good stuff for like my writing time is usually morning at like 5 or 6 in the morning, because that's when I'm kind of firing a coffee, firing on all cylinders, and off I go. If I start doing research then and get sidetracked, suddenly it's time for the kids to go to school and I've got nothing written. So yeah, I'm a devil for distracting and going off, but as I say, I have my little coping mechanisms now, so it's not too bad. Great question though.
She also asked, I mean, you answered it, but just, I guess, a two for one, Rachel. So, uh, getting sidetracked for research, getting sidetracked in research for writing, but she's also asking any tips to combat that. And you already answered that, your portion, Aoife. How about for you, Rachel?
Yeah, so I'd say what helps is like trying to get some of the research out in the very beginning before, like during that plotting process. But you don't want to, I think setting like a time limit for how long you want to spend on each thing. So, like if you're researching something for a character, like their backstory, uh, just get like your basic stuff. And then as the story develops, you can always, like we mentioned, like put in little brackets, insert this bit here about this place or era, then that's whenever you can later go back in and put that in. I'd say one of the big things for me is like time is limited since I also have the family with young kids. So I usually do some research from my phone. So it's like I'm on the go. I'm like doing quick research here and there. And so it's very time limited for myself. And I think that that's really the big tip. If you can kind of cut yourself off and like segment time to where it's only like, I'm going to spend 10 or 15 minutes to research this one thing for today, but really, what is it that you want to accomplish for that day? Do you want to get so many different words in? Do you want to complete the chapter? That's where you can stay with your main focus.
Yeah, because I found myself in a couple things. One, ADHD is real, and then two, just you're researching. For example, I was trying to look at volcanoes for a certain location in one of my scenes for the book, and then from volcanoes, then I just go into. I ended up doing the heat death of the universe. So that yeah, I was like, wow, how did I get here? 4 hours later, I'm like, what? Like, how did I get here? Like, I need to go back to writing. But yeah, I do feel that, and just knowing when to stop, essentially, because there's just so much information out there, and so little time. But let's see. Let's see. Do we have any comments here? No, we don't. Oh, Uncle Jimmy says hi. Hi, Uncle Jimmy. And then open tab limbo.
Oh,
I don't know what that means, but idea. But
Oh, I know.
all
Yeah,
the tabs.
all the tabs are open.
Yeah,
Like,
oh
yes, I do that. Yeah,
no, I don't like that because
yeah.
that's that's one distracting, and two, like, it just feels like it slows down your computer a lot. So that's not a good thing to.
I always end up like having all the tabs open, and if my computer like turns off, like we have power loss, then I like hit the restore button, so I see all the tabs pop back up. I'm like,
So,
success.
I just see Ryan's comment there as well. Oh no.
Nice, and that's the last time we talked to Ryan. Let's see. I think we're caught up. Yep, we're all caught up. All right, cool. So just to kind of wrap up and where can just to rehash what for people that weren't here in the beginning, where can people find you guys and your books at? Rachel first.
Okay. All right.
Sorry.
Always checking. We're both polite, so we always like to let the other person go first. Um, so you can find us at our website. We have all our socials listed there. That's at unchartedbloodlines.com. Our book series, The Wolf and Flame, is on Amazon. And then The Hunter Origins is on Royal Road. And you can find me on Facebook if you do R.A. Cooper. That's my page.
Yeah. Yeah, so pretty much the same, except you can find me under Aoife. I'm under Aoife Y, really. I do have an LM Hughes page, but it's pretty, there's nothing much going on there. I'm always under Aoife Y, so that's spelled WAI. That's my surname. That's where you'd find me.
And we do have a Facebook page too for Uncharted Bloodlines.
We do.
Which is probably more active than both of ours combined.
Yeah. Yeah.
There you go. There you go. I think so. We'll give it a couple more minutes just to see if anyone has any more questions for you guys or for me. You're more than welcome to ask any questions, except Gabriel. If Gabriel's still on, don't ask questions. You're not allowed to ask questions. But anyone else, feel free. We'll leave it up for a couple more minutes. Yeah, I do appreciate you ladies coming and chatting with little me. I think at one point we had probably around 12 people in
It's
the
pretty good.
in the chat, and I think in total, I think we had about 25 people come hop in and say hello or just viewing. So that's actually I think it's my highest so far. So yay for PRs.
Yes.
Yeah. Well,
But anybody else have any questions? We'll last chance, guys. Last chance.
I guess I'll go ahead and we'll mention that. So we have audiobook for book 1, and we're gonna get an audiobook for book 2 of Wolf and Flame. So we're gonna go a Kickstarter route that way and see how that works out.
Okay. Well, you heard it, guys. We'll see. Please help these ladies get their books out there. So go ahead and start listening to the audiobook when it comes out. Oh, so Valeria has one question. She says, "What's the most random thing you've looked up for writing?"
I'm trying to think. There was something I was looking up the other day, and I think I don't know.
The one I could go ahead just on what I came across that I was like, ooh, it's random, but I would so love to use this for some type of kaiju eventually. But it was basically like this kind of sea. I think it was a sea slug, and if its head becomes decapitated, it actually grows back its body. Not and I just thought this was so cool, and I was like, I actually pinned it to my keep. Everything goes into keep notes for me on my phone. So I have a picture of a kind of a sea slug where you have the head and the body. Rachel knows because I posted it in with no context as to what it was about. And so I had to explain to her that it was an inspiration for a future kaiju monster.
Okay. I can actually see that like almost like going into slime as well if you're going into like a slime book or something like that. So let's see. We got some questions some comments from Ryan. Good to hear from both of you again. Love seeing you both outside of Guild of Flycon. Well, there you go.
Good
you too, Ryan. Yeah. Thanks so much for being here, and thanks so much everybody for all the lovely comments, and thanks so much for having us on as well. Like this is it's been great to have the chance to have a chat, and just been a great time. So thanks a million.
And then would C4 kill a troll? It depends how much C4 won. I've actually dealt with C4, but that was a different job. C4. It depends how much C4. Just to answer your question, Ryan. And then Valeria, she said meat for your guys' answers. Oh wait, did you ever answer?
No, but I mean it is kind of random, like things to research, like different ways how you can kill things or people, like monsters. What's the best way, and then also like just different plants and things that you can incorporate into the world.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Then one more comment from me. Yay. No problem. And obviously, thanks to the ladies for joining us today. But with that, guys, we'll be signing off. Thank you for coming in, and have a great rest of your guys' day. In memory of Ryan, we could do that awkward wave that he loves so much. All right, bye guys.
Bye. We'll see y'all.
Thanks.